So I have two boys, and so they're up against a bigger challenge, more peer pressure than I could ever have imagined growing up. So I've learned that if I'm not on top of that and on top of who their friends are, things go awry. I had the talk early with my kids, and the talk has many different angles to it. Ours started initially with the basic learning step of smoking. My mom died of a massive heart attack from emphysema. And so I taught my boys from an early stage that smoking wasn't good for you. It was bad for your health. And I chose then to build upon that and say not only is that not good for you, but cigarettes are only one of the drugs out there. And then we discussed alcohol, and we discussed the recreational use of drugs, and that led into the sex talk. So if I hadn't started young, it would have been a much harder approach because they don't want to listen as they get older.
Statistics probably say that 11 or 12 years old is when they really grasp it. That junior high age is when children really start to get it. Me personally, I started right now. She's only 4 years old, but you know, just the little things. Obviously, you start off with just the minimal of seatbelts, and then you continue to grow as you go along with alcohol and drug-related information as well. And I believe fundamentals give you a nice, firm foundation. And fundamentals don't come when you're playing high school basketball. Fundamentals come when you're playing Little League, you know. So if you build that nice foundation, then you have something to support you when you grow up. So that's why I believe Parents Matters is a great organization, and really right now, because Parents Matters wants to get kids at a young age, they're building a great foundation for parents to work and continue to grow.
So when I was faced with the tough questions of, Mom, I want to go to a party, this is what I'm going to do tonight, and I would say, hold on just a minute. Who's going to be there? What's going to happen? Do I know if the parents are home or not? And I would call the parents and say, are you going to be there? And if they were, I would say, are you going to allow, alcohol, especially in high school? Is there going to be alcohol involved, or drugs? Is it? And in, middle school, it was more, are there going to be girls there type of thing. Then it progressed on as they got into high school. So I was the parent who called. I didn't just let blind faith lead me. And they had a curfew. 10 o'clock, you need to be home, and you always kiss me goodnight. Because you can tell a lot by a kiss. It takes a lot of faith to let your child walk out that door, to go to college, and to have the faith that the talks that you have had will sink into them. The talk becomes more frequent, and it may take on a different shape. It may take on more frequent phone calls just to say hi. If you're close enough, which I am, my son goes to Vermilion, I went to see him. I encouraged him to work. College is a lot different than high school. It's not as regimented. He needed to stay busy. You need to work. You need to make good choices. And that is the temptation in college. Consequences for some of the behaviors that can occur if we don't step up to the plate as parents not only involve the drug and alcohol issues, but you see the secondary issues that occur from that. Date rape, sexual activity in even middle school. Unfortunately, our kids, when they use drugs and alcohol, try the things that they may normally not have tried had they not been drinking or using drugs.
We've done such a good job of telling kids about drinking and driving that they think that is the biggest consequence.
What we see happening a lot lately is people will go in a group to a party and they don't leave as a group. Some people leave here, some leave there, and that's where the assaults are happening. That they make sure that if their children are going to a party, they stay with the group, and that same group is responsible for each other.
Talk to them as if they're an adult, as if they're more of an equal, and sit and just tell them, drinking and driving is a big thing, and so that is very dangerous and it can be harmful to you, but there's so many other things that can happen when you drink.
Parents Matter is not about you not trusting your child. It's about loving your child enough to be concerned and to be involved in their life. It's about being a parent. We're not friends. We're parents, first and foremost.
Schools are sometimes charged with, it's called in loco parentis, which means we are parents in lieu of parents when they're at school. And so we take it very seriously what we are charged with in helping kids learn what we can about being safe, about the dangers of underage drinking and then driving along with that. And so we hope that we can work in concert with parents. We hope that parents start early with that conversation and get their kids engaged and allow us to work with them, whether it's programs we have at school or coordinated efforts such as the Parents Matter campaign, where we can partner with them in helping them have those difficult conversations at times. Whether it's homecoming in the fall, breaks like Christmas break, New Year's, and then in the spring we have prom and then graduation. Those are some real critical times when, as a school administrator, you just hope that you don't get that phone call. And so we do feel like the last several years we've been very fortunate, and we think the materials and the information that Parents Matter have been successful in helping our parents get the message out in conjunction with the school.
My son is 16 years old, and as he's been growing up, we've had little talks about alcohol use. I've asked him questions about his friends and what he's experiencing in high school, and that wasn't anything out of the ordinary when we had to sit down and talk about New Year's Eve. So the whole conversation started with a text message. Yeah, I'm going to go up to Madison to go to one of her friends on New Year's Eve. Is that okay? Whoa. Wait a minute. Whoa. I need some more information than that. What's going on? Who are you going up there with? Where are you going? Those usual questions that come up. Who else is going to be at the house? All these questions started bubbling to the surface, and because it was a text message, it was simply, whoa, hold on. Let's not rush to anything. He threw out the objections. Well, don't you trust me? And I said, well, I do trust you. I don't know who else is going to be at this party. So why don't you give me the name of the parents that are going to, are kind of where you're going to be. And I can tell you, that's the first time I've ever called another parent to inquire with them. Did you know my son's coming up there? Did you know him and his girlfriend and one other people? They're coming to your house? Yeah. It sounds like they're coming over. And I said, well, okay. Can you tell me a little bit more? Are you going to be around? And he says, oh, yeah. My wife and I and the neighbor, we're inviting the neighbor over. And we're going to be there, and it's just going to be us. It's not a big party, and I can assure you there'll be no drinking that's going on, and the kids will be just fine. And I said, that's all I wanted to know. That's all I needed to hear at this point. As a parent and being in the position for the first time where I was really being challenged on why can't I go, and even the comment of, you don't trust me. And in the back of my head, all that came to my mind was, it's not about trust, it's about love. And it was one of those lines, or one of those resources that was on a previous campaign. And sure, I didn't have that right in front of me, but it was in my memory bank. And so I relied on that. I used it. It worked. I think what that did for me was, at least internally, I knew that I did something, and I didn't just make assumptions or just allow him to take off. And even though it was uncomfortable, I can't imagine the discomfort, of not saying something. Yeah. Tears me up just thinking about if anything were to happen and I had an opportunity to say something, but I didn't. And so as I look back on it now, I can definitely say that minute amount of discomfort of when he was pretty angry with me and he was questioning me and I was a little bit anxious. It's all good now.